Hey YouTube land, Alex Lopez here. Welcome to the channel, which historically has had my music videos from my 9 albums, as well as live performance and other tidbits here and there. But as of late, fans have been asking for um, content about the adventures and stories of a 60-plus year old blues rock musician touring the U.S., as well as maintaining a family, as well as maintaining a job, and recording in the studio, and all the challenges that come with that. And hopefully some of these stories and the things that we share will help other musicians out there and just be valuable information, interesting information for you to enjoy. I'm doing this video from my home studio. It's in a little bit of disarray as I am getting ready to remodel my studio. I'm pretty excited about that. Getting some new equipment in here, putting in some new desks. And I will have a video on that out shortly, so you can see before, after, and kind of what I did. So that'll be cool. But I'm going to share with you today some tidbits, tips, things that I have done. Some of it's common sense, some of it you may already know, to maintain your vocal cords, your voice, when you're out there on the road, and just in general. I think that's one of the biggest challenges that any musician has, and especially as you get older. As they say, you tend to lose a little bit of your range. I have fortunately not experienced that yet, and I hope that through following this regimen and these tips that I'm giving you today, that I'll be able to maintain my range for a long time. So let me get into it. But before I do, if you like what you're hearing, if you get some value out of this video, we certainly invite you to subscribe, join the family and the channel. Just click the subscribe button below. We appreciate your support and your love. Okay, so let's talk about maintaining your voice on the road and just in general. So the first few things I'm going to talk about are kind of common sense-ish, I guess. There's no real revelations that I'm going to give you on a few of these, although I do have some tricks and tidbits that I do that I think are really good. But the first one is very simple. Hydrate. Hydration. Okay? It's good to hydrate. As much water as you can take and handle along the day, you can't do it all right before you go on, is going to help your vocal cords, which are basically, muscle, your tissue. And the more they're hydrated, the better they'll perform for you. And so, obviously, hydrating is super important. And even during the show, from set 1, if you're doing 2 or 3 sets, and sometimes we have to do that in the evening, it's important to hydrate if you're going to feel good by the end of the last set and certainly going into the next day. It's not always easy to do that because if you're in a traveling band, this is one of the challenges and that you're going to experience when you're out on the road. Part of the art of knowing how to do a tour is managing stops when you're going from point A to point B, from venue A to venue B. And to do that, you've got to learn how to manage stops, and so you're managing your bathroom breaks. And so if you're drinking water all day, then you're the person raising your hand to make 10 stops before you get to the show, and you don't want to do that. But I do have a couple of things that I do to keep myself hydrated that I want to share with you. But when you can, just drink as much water as you can. Okay, simple step number 1. Number 2 is equally simple. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. No revelation here. Sleep. You got to get your sleep. Some people think that being on the road is all about having fun, and you do a show and you're off the stage at 11 or whatever it might be, and then you're out eating and celebrating, and no, can't do it. So getting as much sleep as you possibly can is critical to your voice's health and performance the following day. And so even though I always make time to meet every fan that, wants to meet me, and take pics with fans at shows and sign CDs or T-shirts or whatever it might be, which is super important, to feel connected to those folks that are out there supporting you. As soon as I'm done with that and I'm loaded, I'm in the van or in the bus and I am taking a nap. And then I get to the hotel and I get right to sleep, and that's the way I typically manage sleep. On the road, there's three of us typically, 3 or 4 of us that are, if we're doing our own van tour, that are doing primarily the driving. And I do a lot of the driving, but when I'm not, I hop right into the back seat or right into the passenger seat. I've got my little setup with my little comfort pillow, and I immediately take a nap. Even a 2-hour nap in between things helps you maintain your your voice, so that you can perform that evening. So get your rest. Super important. I will do a video in the future on logistics and travel and getting from point A and to point B, and how to manage your stops and kind of the tricks of the trade that we've learned along the road. So look for that in the future as well. But anyway, back to it. Manage your sleep. Number 3, not very popular, but very true. Not a secret, not a revelation, something that you probably already know. Manage your alcohol intake. Now, I enjoy a good drink as much, if not more than most. Traditionally, after we're set up and loaded in and, sound check, I'll have a beer typically with bass player Steve Roberts. We enjoy a cold one before we perform. Sometimes after a show, we'll have one as well. But if I'm not having a good night, or if I know I'm not feeling 100%, I'm drinking 0 alcohol. Because alcohol absolutely dehydrates the vocal cords. So I'm not saying be an angel. I'm saying be smart, be wise, manage it. Absolutely don't overdrink. And if you're having a challenging tour run, don't drink it all. I don't. That's number 3. Next, again, I would think this is common sense. I would think that every singer and vocalist out there knows this and probably does this. But I'm shocked, because we tour with a lot of different great bands, that I don't see a lot of singers doing it. So warm up before your show. Now, I know I play blues rock, and you're supposed to be belting it and play and sing soulfully and powerfully, and a little bit of a gravel voice. And yeah, that's all true. Okay, but I find I have greater range, longevity, and I can belt it out even more if I give myself a little bit of a warm up before I go on. My warm up is very, very simple. You can actually go on YouTube and find this. The classic vocal warm-up video, which is basically scales, and I do that once or twice, softly the first time, and then I kind of belt it out more the second time, and it just kind of helps me get ready and prepared, and I feel that that helps me get ready for a good night. You may have another vocal routine. Some of the folks I've run into that do warm up, I've actually had vocal teachers, and they've got specific vocal warm-ups that they use to help them, which is great. If you have any vocal warm-ups you want to recommend, by all means, please leave them in the comments so that other people can benefit, and we'd love you to share those with us. But do something to warm up your vocals before you go on. It will make a difference. Next one is another common sense one. I don't think we always do this, because sometimes we just don't have time. But you got to make time. This is why I always get to the show early. And that's because I want to make sure I have good monitors. I find when I don't have good monitors, I am belting and screaming into the microphone. And I may have a good night that night, but by the end of the evening, I'm pretty much shot. It's going to affect me the following performance the following day. So I try to focus on making sure I have good monitors, talk to the sound person about specifically what I need. When I can, I use in-ears. I'll do a video on my in-ears and how I use them how they've made a difference for me. But I can't always do that because we do a lot of venues that provide sound for us. And so in that case, you're using wedges. And just make sure that you have good stage volume. That's where it starts. Okay? And I'm a guitar player. So I like to crack my guitar, but I don't want to put my voice at risk. And so I manage my stage volume. And I make sure that I have good monitors so I can hear myself. Okay? Now, the next couple things are what I call little products that I've picked up along the way. And I want to be clear to say that I am not endorsed by any of these products, nor do I endorse these products. I'm not sponsored by them. They are products that I have found work for me, that I love using, and they have helped me. But that doesn't mean they're right for you. You've got to do your own research. If you have a vocal teacher or physician, get with them as to what they recommend. Make your own decision based on what you think is good for you. But that being said, I am going to share what works for me. The first one, real simple. It's something called Singer's Soothing Throat Spray in a honey lemon flavor. Honey lemon is my favorite flavor. And I'm hoping you can see this. I'll hold it to the camera. This is an all herbal, non-chemical spray that's designed to basically clear the vocal cords. Kind of takes a layer of mucus off. And I discovered it one time when I was having a very challenging rehearsal after a couple of shows. And the keyboardist at the time reached into his bag and said, try this, which I did that night. And I made it through the rehearsal fine. And I use it every show, just about every show. I will use this right before I go on. To me, does it taste great? But that's okay. I spray down the vocal cords, direct shot. I drink a little water afterwards, and I just feel it kind of clears the throat, gets me ready to go on. And so something that I use that you may want to try again. Do your own research, make sure it's good for you. The second thing I do, and I talked about this earlier, about how you want to stay hydrated, you want to drink as much as you can, but when you're traveling on the road, you know, in that tour van, in that tour bus, whatever you do, you're trying to manage your stops, so you can't always drink as much liquids as you want to. So what I have always done, and I've done this for a lot of years, is I use some form of steam or vapor to help keep my vocal cords hydrated. Now, back when I first started, I used to use a very simple method after a show. I'd try to find a pot and some water and a towel and just simply, just like the boxers used to do. I learned this actually from a video that said Paul McCartney does this. I take the steam and breathe it in through my nostrils, and you got to be careful because you can burn yourself if you're not careful. And that's what I used to do. I don't do that anymore. Then I bought a little steamer, about this big, that you had to plug in. And after a show, or the morning before a show, I would steam my vocal cords. This was a little bit safer than a pot of boiling water, for sure. But, you know, it's still bulky, had to be plugged in, worked, but not convenient, not easy to use. Then I found this product, which I think is, for me, has been absolutely outstanding. Hopefully you can see this on the video. It's called Vocal Mist. You can get this case for it. And what it is, it's a portable mister. And what you do, let me pull this out real quick. First of all, you can see how small it is. So it fits right in the palm of your hand. It also is portable because it's chargeable. So you charge this thing, and that makes it convenient to use just about anywhere. It doesn't have to be plugged in. You put in a saline solution capsule, saline water, salt water basically, that they can provide. You can buy them at this place, Vocal Mist. And you put the cap back on, you take this front piece off, and then they have this kind of like inhaler mechanism. If I can get it out of here. There we go. goes on the front here. Push the button, and out comes kind of a mist. It's not really steam because it's not very hot. That coats and hydrates and keeps your vocal cords moist. And I would recommend you do your own research on this, again, to make sure it's good for you. But if you do and you Google it, or however you decide to do the research, you'll find out the reviews are excellent, and it's probably the best rated mister for your vocal cords that you can find. And so this really has been a lifesaver. It's so portable that sometimes I'll use it right before a show, or I'll use it right in the car, or the bus, or the van, whatever I'm in, right with the bandmates, because it's a non-smelling mist. It doesn't bother anybody, and it's just super easy and portable to use. So when you can't drink like you want to drink and should drink, water that is, the vocal mist has been kind of a lifesaver for me. Those are a couple things that I do on the road to keep myself healthy. I think it all starts with a precursor to that. And it's two things that people don't like to do that I think you have to do if you're serious about being a musician. And especially as you get older. You know, I'm 62, and so you have to keep yourself in absolute good shape. So I do aerobic exercise at least 4 times a week. I like to walk a mile, then I'll run a mile, then I'll walk a mile. So I'll do 3 miles consecutively. Sometimes I'll run 2 miles, depending on how I feel. And what that does, obviously, is gets the heart going, keeps the blood pumping. It helps me with my breath control. Obviously, you're breathing hard. You're working the lungs, you're working the chest, you're working the diaphragm. And all that pays off when you're out there on the stage and you're tired, okay? That energy from that exercise is going to keep you going. So get your aerobic exercise on a regular basis. Especially as you get older, you've got to keep your energy up. You got to keep your strength up. So that's something I definitely do. And watch what you eat. Watch what you eat. I had a bout where I had to perform. It was, I think, a Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. I had to perform that Friday, and I lost my voice. And I had to cancel that performance Friday, which is probably one of a handful of times I've done over the last 15 years of being out on the road. And so what I discovered that was caused by was basically from gastro gas. Okay? And so what I learned from there is I don't eat late at night, because that's kind of when it happens. I manage what I eat carefully, and I don't eat anything that's going to upset my stomach or cause any heartburn problems, which ultimately, if you're not careful, overnight can rob you of your voice. So be careful with what you eat. I follow a strict rule not to eat late at night. Even though I'm starving after a performance, I'll manage what I eat very carefully so it doesn't affect me when I go to sleep. I suggest the same thing for you. Don't drink alcohol late at night. That definitely can cause heartburn, which will cause problems for your vocal cords. So manage what you eat is probably the last step, although it's the precursor to all the steps you got to take when you're on the road to keep your voice healthy. So I hope this video helped you. Hope it provided you some information. Even though some of it was fundamental, it's always good to get a fresh reminder of what you need to do, especially as you get older, to maintain your voice when you're out there performing on the road. Thanks for listening. Peace, love, and I'll see you soon.